Hello, everyone. This is the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us this week, Michael Huber.
Hello, everyone.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And Brandon Jones.
How are you?
How are you? Feel free to answer. We'll wait.
Good. Okay, good.
Great.
Nice.
I'm so sorry about that. Michael Huber, what is your goal this week?
My goal is to talk in detail about the most recent episode of the Batman animated series that Brandon Jones has watched.
Wow.
Huber, I have a really important question.
Yeah.
Did you know how that sentence was going to end when you started it?
So when I speak, when I speak, I know what I want to say. I just don't know how I want to say it.
Okay. It sounded like you were making it up.
No.
As you went along, and then you were like, "Oh, I got the idea."
No.
And the most recent episode he's ever seen.
I knew I knew what I wanted to
All
say.
right, okay.
It was just I was searching for the words.
Jones, what's the most recent episode you've seen?
Beware the Gray Ghost.
Do you know
one
that
of the
one?
best ones. One of the best ones.
Classic.
Okay, all right. I'll wait for Huber to talk in great detail about it.
Yep.
Daniel Bloodworth, what is your goal this week?
My goal is to talk into this microphone.
Okay.
Yeah. We got these
Like a
sweet
great
new
radio
setup.
host.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Easy Allies podcast.
I don't have to look away from the microphone to look this direction.
Bend to the mic.
It's pretty good.
Bend to the mic.
Bend to the mic. Brandon Jones, what is your goal this week?
My goal is to address the three of you only by your first initial.
So I would be K.
You are K, you are H, and that is B.
H. I'm M.
Or you're M, I'm sorry. Yeah, K, M,
Ooh.
And D.
and D. I'm sorry, K, M, and D.
Oh my gosh.
Wow,
Oh
that's
boy,
gonna
I
be hard.
screwed it up right away.
That's gonna be really
From
hard.
this point on, right there.
My goal is at some point in this podcast to utter the words, and that's why I'm the king, baby.
Okay.
And now we begin the part of our podcast where we do corrections. This is something we do every week. Begin corrections music, please. Nintendo was at TGS 2005.
Oh, I saw that one.
They got in there.
That
They
was
got
a
into
sneaker.
one.
Because it's weird because I don't know how much they were there other than just the keynote.
Right.
I think Iwata just went up there into the keynote and that was it.
That counts.
That counts. Bang it.
The International was only hosted at Gamescom once in 2011, Seattle every year after. But for some reason, that first International was at Gamescom, and so I thought, Gamescom every year. And that's not been true
The
since.
International? Oh.
Yes. Oh, the International is the Dota 2 tournaments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that year.
Yeah, good year. Game trailers still existed in 2011. It is worth noting that the NPD is ranked by revenue now, not units sold. The Node did give credit to the submitter of the conference breakdown, and clarification, not a correction necessarily. Assassin's Creed Rogue is on PC and backwards compatible on Xbox One. End corrections music, please.
Rogue. I liked Rogue because it tied up the Kenway story.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and we expected
Yeah.
it to eventually come to PS4, Xbox One, and it never did.
Yeah.
Never did.
Rogue has some cool stuff. Some cool tie-ins.
Available on PC.
And it's short.
Baby. Penguins. Right? Right? Aren't there
What?
penguins?
There's no way there's penguins.
Rogue?
I
There's
don't remember
no
there
way.
being penguins.
I don't
There's a lot of
remember.
Maybe.
ice.
There's a lot of
There's
ice, but
definitely
there's
ice.
There's a
no
demo that I
way
went
there's
to.
penguins.
There's no penguins, no
Well,
polar bears or
There's
anything?
a lot of the
No
map
way.
that you have
No,
no reason to go
no,
to.
That's too cold.
Hard out.
Shay McCormick.
So here's the thing, everybody. We record this podcast on Tuesdays. And we get a lot of flack for that. They should record this on Fridays so they're more recent on news.
Why don't we?
Because sometimes the good news happens on Mondays and Tuesdays, Huber. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes we get to be the first podcast to podcast about the big news.
Nice.
Trunks is going to be in Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Future Trunks, right?
Future Trunks
Yes.
with his
Yep.
sword.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Huge.
So what do we think about this panel? Just kidding. So what was announced is...
Is that going to get its own time code?
yeah, sure.
just
Yeah,
that
we should
bit?
put that in the timestamps.
Future Trunks.
Future Trunks.
Yeah.
Nintendo announced a Super Nintendo Classic, which again we expected. We kind of covered the Eurogamer leak, and Eurogamer was positive about this one, nearly as positive as they were about Pokemon Stars. So anyway, so this was announced, and we did expect it. It wasn't a huge surprise. Oh, Huber.
Did you expect it?
Yeah. Huber, I lost a bet. You remember it was last year, I think we made this bet. I said they would never make an NES Classic. It was earlier this year. I said they would never
I mean,
repeat
Super
that.
NES Classic.
I said they would never do it again. I said they would
Right.
never do any product like this
yeah.
ever again. And Huber said, yes, obviously we will.
Yeah.
Maybe an NES 2 or a Super NES Classic. You went off on any of those things.
Cool.
And I lost a bet. Do you remember what I have to do?
I have no idea.
I have to play 20 minutes of Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
Yes.
How does that beat a steak?
Yeah, Huber, so what I'm going to do is stream 20 minutes, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Cool.
And that'll be a punishment to you to come up with better stakes.
No, it was a friendly bet, man. You're trying to throw gas on a non-situation here. I remember my stakes were like I had to play like Jungle Strike or some like sick game.
No, I think your stakes for that was you'd have to write a letter to the new Dodgers announcer.
Oh, Joe Davis. Yeah, that would
you'd
have been
to
fun.
Write him a letter.
That would have been fun too. All
right,
See,
well,
they were
whatever.
friendly stakes.
Look forward to that stream. Anyway, it's a reality. The Super NES Classic is a reality. It's another miniature little console. This one costs $80 as opposed to the $60 of the NES Classic. It includes 21 games. September 29th is when this game releases. Just rattling off details. The cable is 5 feet long.
Also, 2 controllers.
Comes with 2.
Oh, neat.
Yes.
So you don't have to hunt for a controller.
Despite the fact that I believe it comes with fewer 2-player games. I'll go through the list of games.
Huh.
I don't want to go too in depth. I do want to go way in depth in one of these games. But if you're looking for an in-depth conversation about the Super Nintendo Classic, check out Friend Code, Easy Allies Nintendo
Friend
Focus
code.
podcast.
I was there.
Huber was there.
I witnessed it.
Do you have,
Huber's
do
had
you
all
have
the
that full
deep
name
dive.
written down? Because that full name is a mouthful.
Of the Super Nintendo Classic?
Super
Yeah,
Nintendo
it's Super
Mini.
Nintendo Entertainment System Mini Classic Edition or something like that.
Really, Mini is in it?
Maybe not Mini.
Give me that nugget. Anyway,
Let me find
sure.
that thing.
here are the 21 games. Contra 3 The Alien Wars,
Mm-hmm.
Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, Final
Nice.
Fantasy 3, aka Final Fantasy 6, F-Zero, Kirby Superstar, Kirby's Dream Course,
Little iffy on that one.
The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Mega Man X,
Nice.
Secret of Mana,
Very good.
Star Fox 2, we'll get back to that one.
Craziness.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Hyper Fighting, Super Castlevania 4, Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Wait, so it is Turbo. Somebody was trying to say
No.
that it was the vanilla, but it is Turbo.
It's turbo, but it's not the.
It's not super.
It's not super. It's not
exactly.
super
It's not
turbo. It's
super.
just turbo.
Yeah.
Hyper fighting. And so I don't think you even have super attacks yet. I don't think you have I don't think you can pull off a super. Anyway, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Punch Out, and Brandon Jones's favorite game of all time, Yoshi's Island.
Woo! Bring on the sequels.
So that's 21 games as opposed to 30. I really don't want to go into a breakdown of each of those games, but I want to talk about one of those games that is impossible.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yes. It's just super hard to play. It's just cool to see them bring that friends. Let's talk about Star Fox 2, baby. What do you got, Blake?
I've got The full name of this thing is ridiculously, stupidly redundant. It's the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Super NES Classic Edition.
Repeat that one more time slowly.
Super Nintendo Entertainment System : Super NES Classic Edition.
There's no mini in there. Was there a mini in the NES?
No.
No. Mini has always been us. I think
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
people have added the Mini to these because they are miniature consoles. Like it makes sense. They've always just been called classics. We have to talk about Star Fox 2. This is against all odds. And so if you've never heard about Star Fox 2 before, this was a game that was very far along, canceled mid 1995. Which is actually interesting. I just read an interview with Dylan Cuthbert, who was at Argonauts, who was the studio developing the game primarily. I had always thought, I was under this misconception that the reason it was canceled so far along into its development was that Nintendo wanted the N64 to look better. Mm-hmm. That if there's this game with 3D exploration on the Super Nintendo in Star Fox, and that was the thing, is you can move in 3 dimensions in this one. You could choose your paths. That it would make the N64 look like less of a leap in comparison. However, turns out that the rationale behind canceling this game 95% into its production was that the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation were looking hot. and they had really good 3D graphics, and they were scared that it would just draw the comparison. They didn't want even people to make the comparison of, oh, look at what Nintendo's putting together. It sucks compared to what's on these other two consoles in 1995.
Crazy.
Yep. Here's an even crazier thing I learned in this interview. Again, gamesindustry.biz, cool interview. The game was canceled 95% of the way through. Nintendo said, Argonaut, finish this game. Complete it. And they did. They finished the rest of the game, even though it was already canceled.
Wow.
Yeah. Really crazy to me.
These localization stories from back then are crazy.
How do you mean?
I don't know, because it was maybe it was more confined, but you know, on my mother streams, when I streamed Earthbound Beginnings, like one of the things chat told me, and that it's been backed up now, is that game was fully translated to come out on the NES in America, and yeah, they just canceled it, and that's why it was able to be released so easily, because it was already done.
And they had it. They kept it
On
that
somebody's
whole time.
hard drive.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Right.
Holding on to it.
Yeah, it's just cool that Nintendo, right, they had that foresight. They're like, you know what, complete it though. Finish it. Finish it completely. Because here's the thing, I think a lot of people have played Star Fox 2 already as a ROM. There was an unfinished version of it
Yeah.
that was leaked at a time.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, there are people that have cartridges out there.
Okay.
But,
Oh, man,
what?
that stings. I honestly thought this was like gonna be this one moment in time where it's like the hand is reaching back through time to pick out this game that nobody has ever played. But
Well, here's the thing, Hubert.
still
is,
a few people have played it, I guess.
Dylan
not
Cuthbert
many.
was mad about that version. He said that's not finished. That's not my complete vision. He was
Okay.
not happy with that
Oh,
version. at least.
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
So this is still fresh and
yeah, this is it. This is
Yeah.
the complete version of Star Fox 2, the
Yeah.
game that was canceled because it wasn't good enough. You know, the game that and not its quality, but it's because it didn't compare favorably to a Sega Saturn and a Sony PlayStation, and it's on a Super Nintendo for heaven's sake. And we get to play that game
so it's too cool.
if we are able to obtain
Step one.
this
Asterisk.
console.
Asterisk.
Yeah, it is exclusive to this console.
And
It's funny.
that's why it feels like a twist of the knife.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
It makes the Super NES feel priceless at this point.
It is. It's the only reason I want one.
Yeah.
I read the headline, no, and then Star Fox 2 is like, oh, well, now I need this. It's crazy. They made custom box art for it that's like bad, like intentionally bad perhaps. but
For Star Fox 2.
for Star Fox 2, it's really weird, like character art. And it's just weird. I hope it's all canon. It's like one of the few Star Fox games that's willing to move the story forward. Please, let it be.
what's funny too though is the box art, like it's on the top, like it's the first game on the box art.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because they said last year that they didn't think that hardcore gamers would care about the NES Classic Edition, right? It's
Right.
like this is for
The
the
marketplace
moms
disconnect.
and dads
Yes.
that remember playing the NES. That is not for the moms and dads. The moms and dads that don't remember the like that aren't playing virtual console games right now.
Yeah.
They're gonna walk up to that and like Star Fox 2.
Didn't know there was two.
I don't remember 2. Did
Oh,
you play 2?
I do remember it. I played it. Yeah, I remember that one.
Oh, so yeah, the
That's
sequel.
they
yeah,
turned into
yeah.
chicken walkers. I played it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's one of those things. Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah, and Blood, I think you're right. I think there are a few things about the Super Nintendo Classic that show some learning from Nintendo. Like the cable's longer now.
Yeah.
They've
Two controllers.
Two controllers. They said they have said that they're going to make more. Though they have not promised anything about 2018. They've said we're going to make more of these than we did the NES Classic. As of time of recording, pre-orders have not been opened. That is yet to be seen whether we'll be able to obtain these or not.
I'm camping out.
Were they open in the UK? I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
I saw reports they were sold out in the UK
Yep.
already.
They
so.
have been sold out in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean that's just straight up cool. That is straight up. This is amazing to me that Star Fox 2 it will be available to be played from Nintendo.
It's so cool.
Do you think
it's like
there
we're
are
going into
21 games instead of 30 because of Star Fox 2? That when they knew Star Fox 2 was going to be in there,
I
they're
think-
like, why are we going to push ourselves putting 9 more games in here?
No, I
when
think there are 21 games instead of 30 because there are multiple Square games on that list.
Yeah. I think they were expensive games. These games were relatively more expensive than some of those NES games.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just so cool.
So it's not as simple as like taking that weird Kirby game and Super Ghouls and Ghosts out to make room for Chrono Trigger. Like Chrono Trigger was probably worth like 8 of those other games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, John. That's really good
Toriyama
analogy.
art. pay up.
Pay up for Toriyama.
Because that was crazy. The Chrono Trigger was trending on Twitter, and it wasn't in the collection. Like, just it's absence
Yeah.
was as equal of a headline as the product itself. It's like, people love that game.
Yeah. It's still like this incredible value. I realize it's $20 more. I realize it's more expensive. It's still like insane. That's an insane product.
I mean, what we haven't talked about with the NES Mini, and that the main thing that at the end of the day, because when this first got announced, I was like, boy, I don't know why I would get this. I mean, I've played a lot of these games. Yeah, there's a couple I haven't played. And like the major thing was that I've never seen those NES games look better. And
Yes.
so I can't wait. I can't wait to see what Super Metroid looks like. I can't wait to see what Link to the Past looks like.
Right. HDMI out and the emulation on Wii U sucks. And so that was the best Nintendo. You know what? I think it's the best emulation. I realize that you have good emulators on your computer, but I think it's just like the best official emulation that you have of any of those games. The best version, definitive versions of NES games is pretty. That's an appealing product.
Yeah.
Any other big omissions?
So many.
Anything else?
Ton of big omissions. Beat 'em
Final
up.
Fight?
Beat 'em ups got shafted.
Yeah.
Final Fight. Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
Turtles in Time is a huge one.
Yeah, a lot of those things with extra license deals. I mean, that's why we're, one of the things that we were talking about is how impossible an N64 could possibly be, because all of the rare games, including GoldenEye, it's like,
Yeah,
you're going to put out an N64 without GoldenEye? You're like, and then you got that
bothered.
controller as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a rough one.
It's just so weird. You know, a year ago I said, okay, this is the only one. There's no way they're doing anything past the NES Classic. But like 2, it's funny. You need 3 things to establish a pattern, but it's not true. You need 2 things to establish a pattern. Now we expect something after this one. And we absolutely expect another one next year, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know if I do personally.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I'm excited about the SNES looking super pretty.
Yeah.
I've played some N64 games emulated very well, and it's weird. It's weird to like gloss up the 64.
It is.
Because they kind of built those environments knowing that it would be a little fuzzy.
A little
so
blurry,
they
yeah.
kind of put those edges, being like, you're not going to see that edge because it's so blurry. But like when you really like, put your HD glasses on and you see those corners like start jutting out, it doesn't, not as romantic as seeing the NES or the SNES
It's like,
up-resed.
You can stop here. This could be the last one.
I got to question that N64 Mini. I don't think that the controller's the big thing, because it's like,
Yeah. Well, then it's like, you
of
can't
those.
pack 4 controllers in that box, right? And
You can't pack one.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't pack one. They would have to redesign that controller, I think. It's huge. That controller is cumbersome, and it's not a well-designed controller.
Yeah, well, I mean, not even thinking about the handles, but just like the analog stick itself. It was like
Yeah.
a prototype analog stick, and every analog stick after that is clearly better.
Yeah, I mean, it's time to just worry about the Switch. It's time to just sell more Switches. I don't know why this product exists either. It's crazy to me.
Well, one thing I wonder, because you brought up the emulation
Yeah.
on the NES, and I do wonder if that is part of why this virtual console on Switch is such a mystery, that like they're from the ground up rebuilding these emulators, because like, hey, we built these emulators for the Wii. They're probably good enough for the Wii. We augmented them for the Wii U, but for HD, we really need something different. We need something better.
Yeah.
And that, to me, would explain why this stuff hasn't appeared yet on the Switch, because they've got to go through, and now that they have that library that people expect to be able to access, like, they've got to test everything they put out over all those years on the Wii and Wii U.
Yeah, it's interesting, Blood, that the reason that we haven't seen the Virtual Console is just development time.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. That's something to hope for, I guess.
What if you do like a $60 20 game 64 bundle on Virtual Console on Switch?
It'll never happen.
Never happened because they won't do it, or you
They
won't
won't
buy
do
it.
it.
No.
They won't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking like that's
would
what,
love that,
that's
Jones.
one of the things that intrigues me about Nintendo's approach to this, because like it is a bundle. Like
Yeah.
I don't think every person who's buying every either NES Mini or SNES Mini absolutely loves all of those games. It's probably about like 5 to 10 that you're super passionate about.
Yeah.
And like you'll probably end up playing all of them, at least for 5 seconds, because why the heck not? But it's just an interesting concept of just like, if that like Nintendo being like, there's no way that you can get, the up-resed Super Mario 64 unless you buy all, these other 19 games that you maybe don't want as much.
There's no way you can play Star Fox 2 unless you get this rare $80.
You know what I mean? Like I wonder if there's a 64 thing they can do, and just to avoid all of the hardware
Called
costs.
Online GoldenEye.
It's just GoldenEye's just never coming back.
It'd
to
be
any
Put it
Nintendo
online.
console
It'd
ever.
be so bad. It'd be so bad online. I don't want to play another human online in that game. Unless it's proximity mines only, then it'd be fun. Yeah, it is. It's interesting to think of it that way, Jones. It's weird. It's another product that just has an end, and it's so weird for me that they're willing to put that out.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. It feels forbidden.
Oh, but also the SNES, Damiani was saying something about Wii compatible, the controller?
Yeah.
So you can play VC games that were available on the Wii and Wii U with this new controller.
Yeah. Same thing with the NES. It plugs into the bottom of the Wii remote.
Which they have made controllers that are similar to the SNES, but like, man, if that thing does happy stuff to your hands whenever you hold it, like,
Oh yeah.
What a system. God, I love that system so much.
Yeah. The Super Nintendo?
I owned a fair amount of NES games. I owned a ridiculous amount of Super Nintendo games, man. I could not stop buying those things.
They're all cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to transition into another collection of old games. You know what? I don't really even want to talk about this for too long because it was like basically failed, basically flopped already. Sega Forever. And this is a thing where it got linked to me a bunch on Twitter, and it was like a big announcement.
Oh, right.
Yeah, this was Sega releasing a lot of their back catalog on mobile devices for free, as free-to-play games. And apparently the emulation sucks. It's bad. It's not fun to play.
Right.
And ignore it.
If I can't feel a D-pad on anything released before the PlayStation 1 and 64 era,
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting to like talk about it. It's like not even free. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But what we're so excited about is to, like you just said, touch that controller, touch that
Controller's
Super
a
Nintendo
big,
controller.
big deal,
That's
yeah.
a D-pad. That's buttons. It feels so good.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting. Apparently they used Unity in the Sega Forever initiative. Bad call. I mean, why they did that is so it could go to multiple mobile platforms, but I guess it just runs poorly, and that's what.
Well, there's also I don't know the name of the company off the top of my head, but there's a company that's putting out new versions of the Atari and Sega little retro consoles as well that have a ton more games on them, but I don't know
do you mean
quality-wise.
like the ones you plug in straight your TV? Like they've had those for a long time. You mean, or do you mean?
Yeah,
like
but they have new ones coming out this year,
Okay.
so they
Yeah.
were already talking about them, and then when Nintendo announced, they like put out another thing that basically said the same thing they already said, just to remind people. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
we got these things coming too.
it's interesting. I wonder how you make your Sega one attractive because those have existed. You can find them at like Walgreens.
Yeah.
Just like there's like a little Genesis package that has 40 games in it.
Right.
Sega has been doing this for a long time. It is like, how do you say, like, give us some of that NES Classics money. Like, think of us that way.
Because they have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And so you get confused. Aren't they doing that? Or I think that, no, but yeah, not that one, but the
Yeah.
other one. Whereas with Nintendo, there's no question what product you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So.
How do you make, Jones, how do I make my Sega product look like that NES product?
Dreamcast Mini.
Well, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, well, that's super hard to do, Hubert.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a mini machine that could emulate Dreamcast games that well.
Probably not.
Well, it wasn't relevant. The NES wasn't relevant for me until I saw how good those games looked.
You're right.
SNES wasn't relevant to you until you heard about Star Fox 2. So there's got to be something else other than these games are in here.
Yeah.
Some other thing. Maybe they're online now, or it's just something.
Like Hubert said, yeah, with GoldenEye, just like add something.
That will be my reply to your response of, didn't they release that years ago?
And you
Well,
say, no, definitive,
this one has
baby. It
blank.
looks great.
I think there's also this weird question of this is some external party. Sega's not the one pushing this thing. They're pushing Atari and Sega at the same time.
Yeah.
They've just got a license, and I think that already puts that seeded out in your mind that like it could be a fine product. It could be great. But because it's not Sega making it, it's like, what is this thing?
I hear you, Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd pay up for that Dreamcast, though.
Sorry?
I'd pay up for that Dreamcast.
Yeah. Me too.
Hundreds.
I'm ready to buy a regular Dreamcast. I don't need like.
You said this like years ago.
I know. I
remember.
keep
You
thinking
were
about
like,
it every time. Every time I go to
Yeah.
Game Dude,
It's
I
like
see
$80
those
there,
Dreamcasts.
right?
It's so cheap.
It's
dude.
so cheap. Like with games, with
Yeah.
a controller, $80.
It doesn't come with games, but yeah, it comes with that
Okay.
controller. Yeah. I got it.
I'll let
Gotta
you borrow
hop in.
all of my Dreamcast games, Kyle.
Let's talk about another classic game. I want to have a segment this week. I was thinking because sometimes I'm just interested to talk to the panel. I'm interested in your opinions on things. And so as we see the release of Crash Bandicoot's trilogy HD release, like he's back, baby. I want to talk about Crash Bandicoot.
Wait, why so hostile?
I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, it's bad for the moderator
Go from K over
to
there.
already editorialize. The segment's called "Let's Talk About Crash Bandicoot." Hubert, what is
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot?
Crash Bandicoot is came out on PlayStation 1 originally from Naughty Dog, and it is a platformer. Where you play as a Bandicoot and you go through stages dodging obstacles and collecting apples.
Those are not apples. Those are Wampa fruits.
Originally referred to as Sonic's Butt.
What?
In development, it was called Sonic's Butt.
The fruits?
No, the game. I mean, that was their idea. That was their pitch. Like, what if you were on Sonic's butt?
Oh,
following
Jones.
Sonic. You know, like, what would that look like?
This is what I'm talking about. This is why I love talking to a panel.
We need the right side of the level, because that's the fourth wall in classic side scrollers. Might have been Mario's butt, but I think it was Sonic's butt because he's a little bit faster than Mario. I think the movement and he's anthropomorphic, so
Crash
I think it's just
not fast
fit.
Crash is not.
But you're right. He is an animal, at least. Sonic's butt. So yeah, and I want to talk about his relevance. I want to talk about. We know what Crash Bandicoot is. Is he a thing? Is he a video game character that is appreciated, or is it ironic?
I think it's somewhere in the middle, but releasing this trilogy can push him into relevance. So I think that this is awesome. This is a remake. This is, people maybe know the name, but they're not 100% familiar with Crash. Like, they know what it is. They've never played it.
Yeah.
But then they get, 3 games for, I think it's, $40 for the collection? Is it a $60 thing?
Ooh, I'm going to hand you the prove-it ticket on that one. I don't know.
Okay, well, at least you get 3 games.
Yes.
And, yeah, you can see what Crash is all about. And if the game is great, then it's worth it. That's all it takes. Is for this
game.
Is for this remake.
I think that's the thing, because because Crash moved away from Naughty Dog and had all of these other games that have come out in the past 15, 20 years. I think there's a sense of, well, why do you care about Crash? Because of all these various levels of quality.
Because the best ones were so far away.
Yeah. So I think it's good to kind of put that reminder out there. It's like, well, why did people fall in love with Crash? And I don't see why anyone would be ironic about it. I think either people really do love Crash or they don't care. Mm-hmm. I think those are basically the two factions.
It's $40.
No way, really?
Yeah. For the 3 games. But the thing I really want to drive home right now is this. I feel like we're in this moment where history matters more, where history and origins are more important than they've ever been. Just like releasing Super NES Classic, like seeing these old games. So many players nowadays playing PlayStation 4, Xbox One, maybe got into games at PS3, maybe got into games before that, or maybe you're just getting into games now. There's always new players. And I think coming out with a Crash trilogy is awesome for people that do not know what it is.
Sure.
Do not know who Crash is.
Because it makes it approachable.
Yeah, and you look too. You look at Naughty Dog, like everyone's playing Uncharted, Last of Us. It's like, oh, Naughty Dog. Like, I want to see their history. I want to see what they did before. The Last of Us.
I'm afraid it won't hold up. I'm afraid that people will pick this up when it looks great and like, oh, this is super hard and not fun. Is what I'm scared about. Mm-hmm. Why are there so many like scientists I'm fighting? Here's an interesting fact, panel. From 1996, when the first game was released, till 2010, there was a Crash Bandicoot game every year.
Whoa.
Every single year there was at least one Crash Bandicoot game.
15 total games?
More total, because that's just 14 years in a row. Oh yeah, I guess you would count that year. Yeah, 15 years in a row.
Wow.
With Crash Bandicoot games.
Move over,
and then 2010 just cut off hard. Nothing until 2016 when he was in Skylanders last
5
year.
crashes, a couple of team racings.
And he was in Uncharted 4.
There's a few Game Boy Advance games.
Okay.
When I was looking this up, it was really interesting. There's actually a crossover series called Crash Bandicoot Purple, Ripto's Rampage, and Spyro Orange, Neocortex something. So like they like swapped enemies for a couple of Game Boy Advance games. There's a few racing games, Jones, but yeah, like have you ever heard of Crash's Huge Adventure?
No.
No.
Crash Entranced.
This one, what?
That's Crash Purple, Ripto's Rampage. That's when
Twinsanity.
Oh, Crash
Purple,
Twinsanity.
Ripto's Rampage, Twinsanity.
Twinsanity is its own game. That's like there was 2 Crash games.
Okay. There was one huge.
Twinsanity rings a bell.
Crash Boom Bang was the name of a Crash Bandicoot game.
Nope.
Yeah. So yeah, Crash Mutant Island, like weird.
Mutant
I mean, good for
Island?
Crash, you know.
Crash Team Racing.
I wonder if Mutant Island came out. I gotta fact check myself. I'm not sure that game came out. Crash Mutant Island. Huber, would you look that up for me too?
They got
please?
95% done, and then they had to. Sorry, cancel.
But then Vivendi was like, please finish it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, thank you, Vivendi. You're cool. By the way, we got some more Ubisoft. You know, I don't like to like update it too much because it depresses me. The Guillemets are fighting back. They're investing more money into Ubisoft to fight over the Vivendi takeover.
Sheesh.
It's exciting. It's like DBZ beams.
Yeah.
It just like kind of bouncing. Jones, what happens in Harry Potter?
Platforms
Yep.
for Mutant Island.
Yep.
Java, BlackBerry.
Oh, it's a weird like phone game.
Yeah.
Oh,
2009, baby.
July 30th, summer release.
Crash Bandicoot lands on your BlackBerry phone. What sucks is I bet it was made with love.
Oh yeah.
I bet that game is so cool. We need Blackberries.
It's like
to
they
play
just
it.
had a really small budget that year. Like, we're
Yeah.
gonna put it on the BlackBerry. It's like, oh.
We need a BlackBerry
Or it was
Classic.
just made by people that don't even know what Crash is.
But it's worth saying to people that have no frame of reference on Crash, that
Yeah.
are really just like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
That he was one of the first mascots, correct me if I'm wrong, that kind of got why mascots were silly. You know, you have like Mario, and then you got, Sega. Like,
What about Bubsy though?
I don't think Bubsy was in on the joke.
Yeah, Bubsy was never
I think
a
Bubsy
big
legit
mascot.
tried to be cool. You know, I
Yeah.
think Bubsy and Crash does in part, but like, and I don't know how much of the
think there is
attitude I
some
got
of
from
that
their
with
advertising
Clay
is in the
Fighter.
game.
I did want to talk about this, Jones, because I think the advertising is a huge component to why he's popular.
Sure.
Because it is self-aware. It's funny. It's a big guy in a Crash costume, and you can just see his face in the middle of it.
Who like went to the Nintendo offices and like called him out, from the
Yes.
parking lot. Like it just no one had done that.
It's
I mean,
worth
that was
restating that. So,
that
like,
was
somebody-
very unusual.
We
that-
might have a 12-year-old listening. Crash Bandicoot in a commercial went to the Nintendo offices. You saw the word Nintendo on this building. He had a loudspeaker. What is it? Megaphone?
Yeah.
Megaphone. He had a megaphone, and he called him out. And he showed how cool his game looked on a truck that had a bunch of TVs on the back of it.
But to me, it wasn't, even if I didn't like Crash or didn't think it was cool or
Yeah.
still thought Nintendo won that argument, if there was an argument,
Yeah.
it was still funny. It
Yeah.
was still, I still appreciated having this character kind of put himself out and be like, I'm dumb. This is just silly. Like,
Yeah.
video games are just nuts.
Yeah.
Let's all just have a good time.
That's a really good point. Because honestly, yeah, Mario 64 is way better than your game, Crash. Like, get a hold of yourself, dude.
Get a hold of
Banjo-Kazooie is better than you, dude. But like, he still like came with that arrogance, and I think the advertising is a huge component. The character himself is just kind of a goofball. It's really weird. I forgot the opening cutscene until I played the remaster. Like, he's kind of a normal Bandicoot until Neo Cortex does an experiment on him, and then he becomes insane, and then that's him for the rest of his life. That's so weird.
Heavy.
Kind of like
Yeah.
Jax and Daxter.
Yeah, exactly. Jack and Daxter.
Or Jax, sorry.
Yeah. Weird. And then like
Jax from
He's
Mortal
got, like-
Kombat.
Yeah.
he's got a super tall girlfriend who wears clothes. That's in that first game. Like that's like, you gotta go save her, Crash. Whoa! It's like, what? This is your story? You're a beloved character? And I think Jones, part of the belovedness is those ads. I totally agree with you there. I think that was a big factor. Otherwise, what do you love about this guy?
Something else, those games are hard. I mean, even by today's standards.
Oh, they're hard, dude.
They're I think you can save progress or something. There's like a little bit of help that you didn't have in the PlayStation era, but you have a very linear map that you cannot screw up ever. You got to get through that thing flawlessly to even finish it, not to just like get a good score, but to like get through the end. And so it has that one more try vibe. And I'm sure if you like are even just kind of into the gameplay, are they gonna have leaderboards? I don't know. Like I could see that being very competitive. And not just
Speed
competitive
runs.
for the whole. You're not just speed running the whole game, but just picking that one level. Just playing that again and again and again just to get it perfect.
And I think in 2, they introduce speedruns. You get a special crystal if you beat it at a certain time and stuff like that. One last thing I want to talk about with Crash is the breaking of crates, because I think it's essential to the joy of Crash Bandicoot. Spinning around and smashing crates. And it was interesting. I was just reading like wiki stuff earlier today about their development, and he was called like, they had some names they were running through, like Willy the Wombat, Wizzy the Wombat, Wiz, Wuzzy. But it wasn't until they added this component of, they had people playtesting it, and they were like getting through it too fast. They were solving puzzles too fast. We're like, I don't know, we should add crates. And then they started adding these crates, and people were just having fun smashing the crates. And it really is, I think, like an essential component.
That's cool.
And that's why they named them Crash, is because of that like action.
They'll put the crates in between the dynamite. You're like, God.
Burp, 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 burp. Yeah, and yeah, like even like if you think about the sound effects and the way it feels good, and the way it's visceral, the way you can crash these crates, it just feels good. Yeah.
But if you miss too many crates, the crates will crush you at the end. Remember, it's like how many you missed?
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that so
I
much
know.
because you get a special crystal if you crush every crate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like these stages are so small, they're so linear. Where the
I
hell are
miss
you?
those.
Where are you hiding these?
Where are they? And there's weird. You pick up like the weird coins with your girlfriend's face on it.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot 1 I might skip, dude. It's just too weird for me. It's too weird. It gets more normal as it goes on, I think. It's cool though. It's Huber, you know what? I honestly, the way you started this conversation, I think that
Historical.
yeah, but I think the way that this is packaged is a good way to position it for success. That it's not just a remake of one that's $20 online.
Yeah.
That it is 3 of
Visually, it looks
Yeah.
really awesome too.
Yeah.
Just really colorful, warm. Makes you want to hop in and like Jones is saying, just that one more.
You cannot go much farther back to redraw a 3D environment in video games. There's like historically there's not much earlier than Crash as far as like people like Mario 64 or just Tomb Raider, like that era of like the very first leaps into 3 dimensions, how that controlled, how the camera worked and all that stuff. So it's neat. Like I was playing it and looking in backgrounds and I'm like, wow, that background looks a lot better. And like I don't even remember if the original had a background, you know, like maybe like 2 colors.
Yeah.
And now like you can see a lot of, definition there. So it wasn't something where they just like painted over the environments, like they had to redo everything.
Right. This is a confusing one whether it's a remaster or remake amongst us personally.
It is a crazy remaster. It is about
Yes.
the most work you can put into a remaster.
Yeah.
Given the source material.
I say it's a remake.
I could hear
But
the
I don't
argument
care.
of remake.
I don't care.
You know what? Talking about all this early 3D and classic games. You know what isn't on that Super NES Classic?
A lot.
What?
Uniracers.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
You know,
what
you
that is.
yeah.
I don't
okay.
know Uniracers.
I know Uniracers. I know the box art. I never played it.
Yeah.
Why is that a good 3D game?
Well, I'm pretty sure it used a Super FX chip, but not in the same way that like Star Fox or anything
Oh,
did.
Super Star Wars. I mean, there's obviously why that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
on
The
there.
list
but-
goes on.
Yeah.
But I'm
I got
just-
one for you, Jones. Sunset Riders.
Ugh. Clay Fighter.
Clay Fighter. Pass on Clay Fighter. I'm okay with that one.
Killer Instinct.
But yeah, Uniracer is like,
True
you
Lies.
basically just controlled the unicycles with like nothing on them. They're just like sentient unicycles around these crazy race courses. They were almost like roller coasters.
I never want to play that. I don't want to be a unicycle. I want to be a Bandicoot. I want to wrap up this conversation about Crash Bandicoot, about a potential future for Crash Bandicoot. Kind of how we started it. You said he's positioned, Huber.
Yeah,
Video games are way different now.
for sure.
The video games are strange now. You have to have a certain, and it might tie in well to last week's conversation about Injustice 2 being a success and Injustice 2 finding a way as a fighting game to be relevant today. And I wonder if a new Crash Bandicoot game could be relevant in a way that makes Activision happy.
I think you go Sonic style, and you see how this does. You see how the Insane trilogy goes. If it does well, you maybe do another one that remixes older Crashes. Crash Team Racing is a big
maybe.
one that's ready to go.
Yeah.
Or the team, it's escaping me. I don't know the team that is doing this remake, but if they just did it in the same style, but like a new Crash,
Vicarious Visions.
Vicarious Visions. Yeah. If they
Those
if-
guys are great.
They're capable.
Yeah.
They are absolutely capable.
If they just do a brand new Crash in the exact same style as
I don't think
these.
that would do it, Huber.
Really?
I don't. I think that wouldn't be a huge seller. If they just said, we're making a new Crash Bandicoot where you can't move the camera with the right analog stick. It's
Okay.
just levels. It's just time trials. It's just find the gems. I don't think that works today. I think like that's not a game that Activision wants to publish. They want to publish Injustice 2. They want to be on top of the NPDs for the month of May.
Something big.
Yeah.
They want an Odyssey.
Yeah.
They want Crash Odyssey.
They want, yeah. I mean, they probably want bigger than that. Like, can
Can't go bigger than that.
yeah, I know. That's what I mean, though, is like, can Crash carry it? Can Crash be a successful franchise outside of this nostalgia?
You
play
gotta
that's
you gotta
coming
know
on
your
Friday?
limits. You gotta know your limits.
And where are the limits of Crash Bandicoot?
I think we will know more when this trilogy comes out because this thing
Okay.
could blow up.
It could blow up.
It's coming out at a pretty good time.
Best time.
like
Summertime, baby.
Yeah, drought before October. September's big. August has a lot of big ones. It's coming out at a really good time, good price. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't think Crash could ever be Mario or Sonic levels. Like, look at Sonic. Sonic tried, flew too close to the sun, Sonic. He had, was trying to get all edgy with Sonic Unleashed, which you enjoy. I enjoy Sonic Unleashed, but Sonic was going for something that he wasn't. He was doing all these. He was trying to be
out in hub worlds.
He was trying to hub
talking to
worlds,
NPCs.
open worlds,
Sure.
like quests.
Yeah.
Trying to be something he wasn't. I think if Crash just does what he does best and just does weird little games, like I totally could see him existing in a space where they have smaller,
So yeah,
but significant Crash games.
I think that was the question I was posing. Is like, would this work? Could you make a hub world Crash? Could you make a Crash Bandicoot game that has the single player story budget of Injustice 2? Do you make a game with Crash as loot? How do you make Crash work today?
Well, I think one thing, how many of those every game every year for 15 years, how many of those still had crashing through boxes? Think about that. Think about how fun
joy.
that kind of mechanic is just in like an X-Men Legends or Marvel Ultimate Alliance. You could really just unleash Crash and something where you really are smashing a bunch of stuff in the midst of doing all these other things, and that may mean not making it look like a Mario Odyssey so much as something that like where you do have like a wider view of the map, and just focus on those like fundamentals and then work with what makes sense to branch out of those fundamentals.
So you're saying I could still have a hub world if it's got crates to smash?
Yeah, if those crates are fun to smash, if the crates are just
why is there
whatever.
Really be open world? We don't need a hub world in Crash.
Because I think, Huber, you just need open world to sell. I think you need an open world to be marketable.
No way.
Jones, how do you market this?
But how good does this feel? You have all these open world games. You have all these huge Assassin's Creeds and Mordors, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we got this old school, classic, easy, cozy Crash Bandicoot game.
Yeah, it's just
It's existing in its own space.
If we work at Activision, right? Jones, I'll pose this to you. If we work at Activision,
brand manager.
we need to pitch something that Activision will say, yes, here's millions and millions to develop this game. I don't think we can pitch it like we're doing an old school Crash. What do we pitch to them to say, here's what will make you money, Activision?
This is not brand manager talking. This is just me.
Okay.
But I miss like a good farce. I miss like Leisure Suit Larry. I miss Conquer. I miss something that makes fun of games.
And you think Crash kind of had that going?
I wonder if you could do like Crash History or something where it's like Crash trying to catch up, but in order to like catch up to modern day, he's got to like play through Streets of Rage and play through like to play through like old side scrollers. So instead of like going into each dimensions that are like themed for these things, it's like, oh, I see what game they're making fun of.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the game is trying to exist and he's just tearing through, like knocking everything around, like knocking the environment out. And and you could still make it that like straightforward, but
That's
you're
really
like
fun.
playing through classic side scrollers
So
you remember.
there's a dumb FPS level where we're not in first person.
You're
but
playing through Call of Duty.
We're playing with Call of Duty. We're getting like XP for kills and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah, there's still crates. There's obviously still crates
Yeah.
for us to crash through. That's pretty fun.
Well,
James.
imagine if it was like if it had elements
Yeah.
of like. Do you remember some of those Red Faction multiplayer modes where you're like competing to like do as much damage to the opponent? You know what I'm talking about?
I actually don't. Is that 2?
No, it was after. I forget which one. Like the
There's one
subtitle of it.
Oh, like Armageddon?
and
Cool.
It was
Oh,
before Armageddon.
Oh, okay.
I think.
It's
But
Guerrilla.
maybe it was Guerrilla.
Red Faction
Yeah,
Guerrilla.
yeah. But yeah, so anyways, like just like have a really crazy again, like you want to make destruction fun as part of it, you know.
Yeah.
And so if you could just like tear through like buildings and like have them fall over and create a bridge to go wherever you're going.
Oh, that sounds fun, Blood.
Yeah.
Also,
like Tumbo.
was it Mega Man that had that like endless
Tembo.
mode
Tumbo.
that Damiani did like a Pop Fiction on or something?
Yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah.
Be fun if there was a Crash level that didn't
Don't
stop.
point at that. No, God, no. That sucked.
Just keep going. Just see how long people can play
Somebody
Crash.
would go forever.
Yeah.
Somebody would still.
Goes and goes and goes and goes and goes.
Oh my God, no.
Just find out, after a year who holds that record and
Yeah.
give him a big Crash statue. Or something.
Activision has said they have plans. They have plans for more Crash games. I expected that just meant
Crash Team Racing
Yeah.
is money.
Yeah.
It's ready to go.
Remember playing that 4-player split screen and we could barely even see it?
Yeah, it looks great on a single screen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It holds up on a single screen. Yeah,
That is a big one.
that's a big one. It's such a fun kart game, and very few kart games really pull off being a kart game. I'm sorry, do you all hear that? Sounds like it's podcast halftime. Get him out of the way now, Jones.
The following are the official sponsors of Easy Allies for the month of June. Richard Smuts, who you can follow at Thoraxis. Iron Harvest, a real-time strategy game for PC, PS4, and Xbox One, currently in development at King Art Games. Join their community and help them bring the alternate reality of 1920 plus to life. Sweet Justice, a sound design company from England that focuses on audio for game cinematics and trailers. They're also heavily involved in sound design and sound implementation for games. They've worked on Battlefield, Mirror's Edge, Call of Duty, Injustice 2, and a load of indies. You can see and hear their work at www.sweetjustice.audio. Scorn, an atmospheric horror adventure developed by Ebb Software, set in a nightmarish universe of odd forms and somber tapestry. Go to scorn-game.com for more information. iKeyless. Need a new car key or remote? iKeyless.com has been in the key replacement business since 2002. Check them out today, and they can help save you up to 75% off of the dealership's prices. If you type in offer code EZA at checkout, you'll get 15% off of your order. Elfanis. Mango. Hogue Law Business Law Firm. Whether you're starting a business at level 1, stuck fighting the dreaded fundraising boss, or finally cashing out with a well-earned high score, you need a good business lawyer at your side. Rick Hogue started Hogue Law to bring more than a decade of experience to companies like yours and is proud to support the Allies. Check him out at www.hoaglaw.com. Michael Kozachenko, who is producing video game long-form reviews on YouTube at youtube.com/MishaKoz. All of these links are available in the description. Thank you to our sponsors.
Thank you, sponsors. Thank you. It's now time for love and respect.
Ooh. Love and respect.
This one I think we just got to fess up to. This is an interesting one because it's like, hey, we should talk about this. Hey, guys.
Fess up.
Fess up. I think we'd all like to hear a little more about the Uncharted 4 multiplayer masks of your faces and how that came to be. Any fun stories from Naughty Dog offices? Love and respect. Ian from Taiwan at Alexander Arts.
I mean, I'll put it as simply as I can because I was there from the beginning to the end of this process.
Okay.
Somebody from Naughty Dog emailed us, asked if we wanted to come over and stream. We came over, we streamed, we had lunch, and then they were like, hey, you guys want to have your faces scanned? Okay, cool. Sounds fun. Mm-hmm. Got our faces scanned. Didn't know it was going to be for, but then they were like, oh, yeah, we need you to sign some forms just so that you can never sue us to say that, we owe you money for using your likeness.
And I will, though. Hogue Law. I'm suing them for everything they're worth.
So we signed the release forms, and we came back for another stream. Mm-hmm. We saw some little some of the things that they were working on, on one of the monitors.
Did I miss that one? Did I miss that stream?
Yeah, I think you weren't there the second time.
Oh man. Okay.
So we got to see
you saw the
multiplayer.
faces.
some
You saw the
previous
masks.
stuff, yeah. And then Huber got scanned that second
Yeah,
time.
I hadn't been scanned.
I see.
And then we didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Until
That was
this
like a year ago.
Yeah, this last weekend we.
It was longer than a year ago.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we first went there. It was right after launch. Like the studio
Of
was
Uncharted 4.
half empty.
It was more than half empty. It
Yeah.
was like 95%
Yeah,
empty.
95%.
They were like one person in each station of like
Yeah, and I
art
think that contributed to scanning because
yeah.
it was just like
we were doing a tour, so it's like, hey, do you want to get scans?
It was
yeah,
like
all right.
it was
Yeah.
like school's out, teachers are gone,
Yeah.
let's mess around.
yeah.
And I was convinced that like if something ever happened with this, that they would just have like 50 of these things. Like
Oh,
there
sure.
would just be all kinds of like press and YouTubers and
Yeah.
celebrities. Like I don't understand why and how they got approvals to just put the three of us in there. Like what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the less description, the better. They were just like,
Yeah.
we got 3 masks, don't ask questions. Just put those in there.
Yeah, it might have been that. Yeah, there's no, it's a cool mask. What do you mean? Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird that like we're multiplayer. I thought we'd be like like statues.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We would just be like on the side of a map somewhere. Yeah.
But no, people can kill with my face. It
Yeah.
feels weird. Feels weird.
And D's is the best. I mean, there's no question out of the 3. I mean,
Who's this?
if I was to buy
I'm sorry,
one.
who's this the best?
Oh, Mr. D right over here.
Mr. D. Okay, got it.
Kyle's freaks me out.
Why?
It just does, man. The eyes. Kyle's eyes just going around.
I was a
murdering.
I was a little sad that you didn't do like a funny face or something. You're very. It was like a death mask.
I think when they were scanning it, they said do a neutral face.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jones, if I knew it was going to be like a multiplayer mask, I would have put on a face. But it's just like, hey, do you want to see how this technology works?
Yeah.
Because actually, it was interesting.
They had a
have-
thing to stand on, right?
Yeah.
We rotated on the thing.
And they also have this a wardrobe, like, and they said like they're one of the first to like use this. Is that they basically just scan actual clothes as opposed to having somebody model clothes for the characters. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. So they had a wardrobe of clothes that the actors would wear as they perform, or just as like if you want to be a multiplayer character, it's like it's easier and faster to scan in people wearing clothes than it is to render clothes and things like that. So it's cool. You get to learn a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say one thing about my face is that I think that my saggy eyes are like iconic. And what's really funny, like a behind the scenes thing, is when I did live with YouTube Gaming, I'd have to wear makeup a lot. And at one point I had to say, please don't put too much makeup on my saggy eyes. And they're like, but you look so tired. And I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of my thing.
I remember street passing this tired, sad-looking guy
Yeah.
named Kay Bossman, and literally like looking through the GT offices and being like, "Oh, it's that guy."
And that's why I'm the king, baby.
Oh. Set him up.
Let's do a game. This game's fun because it might have some hotness to it. It might have some little spiciness to it. There's no right and wrong to this game.
Excellent. My favorite kind of game.
Hey, sorry, your allies. Hey, allies. E3 has come and gone. And now that we have a better picture of what we'll be playing in the fall, it's time to play everyone's favorite game, Delay or No Delay.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a list of 9 games scheduled to release in the coming months. It's up to you to determine whether or not these games will actually meet their set-to-release date or window based on the state we saw them in at E3. Good luck.
Okay.
We got 9 games here. You ready? First, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is set to come out September 19th.
Delay.
Not delay.
Ooh,
I'm with
Jones, break this tiebreaker.
I'm with M.
That makes this hard for me. So you say it won't get delayed?
I don't think that'll
Okay,
get
all right. So I kind of... This game's not going to be ready. I think it's going to release in an unfinished state.
I agree.
I think it could use a delay like Bloodworth wants. I don't
Not
think it's
gonna
getting
happen.
it. I don't think it's happening. Blood, why do you think it'll get delayed?
Yeah, I think it's just gonna run into some weird last minute trouble. I don't even think it'll be a long delay. Mm-hmm. I think it might even still come out.
This year?
Yeah, just even like 3 weeks later or something like that. But I think, likely get a little delay.
Learned a lesson from Street Fighter V, possibly.
Probably
No.
not.
That's
No?
the thing, Jones. It seems like no. It seems like they won't learn a lesson. I would love if they would. Middle Earth Shadow of War set to come out October 10th.
Didn't that already get delayed?
It already did, yeah.
No
Yeah.
delay.
It was going to
Yeah.
be an August game.
All these games are coming.
Okay.
All of them.
Wait till you. I got more. I got more here.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I,
words.
I think that'll be on time.
Okay.
On time.
All right. Middle Earth on time.
That was a pretty polished game.
South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
On time.
Gotta come out.
That is
They
October
gotta-
17th.
Please.
They gotta do it now. Yeah.
That'll be almost a
some
full year,
bad
right?
news if that gets pushed.
I think that'd be like it'll come back around and be a full year at that point.
Oof.
Assassin's Creed Origins, October 27th.
On time.
Yeah, for better or worse, it will come out.
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
That's my pick for delay. I would totally
Okay.
pick a delay on that one.
It's locked.
Okay.
Lock that in,
Okay,
Kyle.
lock
That
it
would be
in.
bad mojo for that.
You're right. They took a year off. Lock it in. Crackdown 3, November 7th. November 7th.
Ooh.
That's getting delayed till January.
Ooh.
Isn't it weird we still have not seen multiplayer?
I would say delay, but that Xbox One X push, I
Oh,
think
that's true.
That's the release date of the Xbox
even if
One
that
X.
game, I mean, and the game
Okay.
seems fine at E3.
Yeah, it's gonna launch.
I think,
Alright.
but I think it'll be there. Yeah,
I'm saying on time.
Do you
I'm
think it
changing.
launches without MP?
it could. That could be one of the things that they do.
I mean, GTA 5 did it. That's maybe my guess. If
Smart.
they would do that before delay.
Yeah.
But you're right. You
But
need
that's
that
funny
game.
though because the multiplayer was supposed to come out first at one point, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah. But I think it's an essential exclusive with the launch of the Xbox One X. Like it'll come out in whatever state it's ready to come out in. Need for Speed Payback, November 10th.
It's coming.
Not haven't. Yeah, that's
Locked in.
yeah.
Lock it.
Jones, are you ready to lock that in?
I'm not going to speak against D over here.
Okay.
If he says locked, it's locked.
It's too much for me. Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom,
Lock it.
November 10th. Same day.
Lock it in.
Jones is
I
giving
don't
me
feel
a
bad
panic
about
face.
it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed.
I wouldn't be surprised if it could delay it. I'd actually, I don't know. It's hard because Q1 is now getting so packed. I would, in a way, prefer it got a little delayed. It's in there with the heavy hitters.
It's a December game.
It's gonna get overlooked if it's right there.
Put it out in December.
It
Huber.
won't be overlooked.
Okay. All right. Huber wants it locked in.
Lock that in.
Fire Emblem Warriors, fall 2017.
Fall.
Yep. This is the Warriors game. Like, it's just
Okay,
where
yeah,
you're
yeah.
mowing through enemies.
Hard dates are way more reliable. Fall 2017. This is getting bumped.
Really?
Yeah, it's getting bumped.
This is the one I think is absolutely coming out this year because it looks shoddy. It looks
Yeah,
like it looks
that's-
exactly how good they want it to look. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't know if
I
it's that
played
valuable to
it.
put.
Yeah.
It doesn't look ready, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, Blood, is there's a 3DS version of this game.
Sure.
And so, like, the kind of what we all assume is that they're making it not too great because they have to also make the 3DS version at the same time, which is so dumb. But
Sure.
maybe one of those two versions will get delayed. Finally, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, holiday 2017.
Lock it in. For Ben.
No,
I refuse to think
Huber,
anything
we
else.
have to think rationally.
No, lock it in.
We have to
It's not
think.
going anywhere. Merry Christmas.
I think
You're welcome.
Lock that.
it'll get a late delay still.
Lock it down.
Delayed.
I would not be surprised if they actually pulled it off, but I think something that big. When Nintendo's already got Mario and Zelda this year, a gigantic game like that, if it's needs more time in the oven, they'll give it more time in the oven.
That was it. Love and respect as always, and thanks for the excellent E3 coverage, Jeremy. No GT
Thanks,
Sport, which I think could also get delayed out of this year again. Maybe not. I don't know. That game has been that one's been delayed a full year. That one is coming out. They just still don't have a date for it. They said it's coming out 2017. Come on, man. GT never coming out in
GT.
time. GT.
I think the most comfortable release date I have post E3 is Evil Within 2 on
Yeah.
Friday the 13th
Yeah, it's not
of
going
October.
anywhere.
That's a hard lock.
You don't back out of that
Lock
date.
it. You don't
No,
give it up.
That one was welded shut. That release date.
Yeah, that game's probably done.
Ooh, big words.
It's probably I mean, all of these games are probably done, right? And at this point, we're just in that polish phase.
Iron it out.
Just getting rid of those bugs. If you have any bugs, let me hear it, and I'll polish it out. Let's do one more. This has been Talk of the Town. We should do this one. Hey, allies. I hope you're all well. Why the heck does Sony not allow cross-platform play? This is a question that I've been hearing come up quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
Despite the reasoning given in their statement on the issue, to me, the reason seems pretty obvious. They are in the lead. By opening up cross-platform play, they would be effectively more than doubling the online player base of for Xbox One overnight. And it no longer matters which console your friends are on. It's one more reason somebody might buy an Xbox One X or S over a PS4 Pro or PS4. while I feel it might be a positive step for gaming, and it's probably in Sony's best interest in the long run, i.e. if the shoe ends up on the other foot again, I can understand their hesitancy to allow it right now. Wondering where the Allies stand on this. Do you think Sony's being smart by not allowing this to happen for now at least? Or are they just hurting their own image for being for the players by holding out? Love and respect, beating down Brian.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at both the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 4, and why, like one
Wait,
of the
360 and PS4?
yeah,
Okay.
one of the main reasons people will quote for why they have one of those systems is that's what my friends play on.
Oh, got you.
So like, yeah, that is a clear advantage. Like if you have that momentum, you are in the lead.
Yeah.
Then the system my friends play on is a big deal to selling your console.
Yeah, and I think, like beating down Brian said, that's it. That's the reason. Because Sony can say whatever they want in interviews. Jim Ryan, we don't believe you. It's because you're in the lead. That is as simple as that. I want to talk about if it's harmful or not, if it would benefit them to go cross-compatibility, like Minecraft. Let's just use Minecraft directly. Do you think it would be beneficial, or do you think it's wise for them to hold out, panel?
I don't know that it would be all that beneficial for Sony themselves. I think it would certainly be beneficial for third parties, especially smaller third parties.
So yeah, I should say, in the case of Minecraft, on Switch, you do have to create an Xbox Live account to play Minecraft cross-compatibility on your Switch. And I could see why somebody at Sony, an executive, would say, no, not ever. No one will ever have an Xbox Live account on our console. I can see why you would say that.
But you know what else Sony did? I mean, it was kind of a one-shot thing. You had to create a Steam account to play when you did Portal 2.
Yep.
You could cross-play Portal 2 from PC to PS3.
And I kind of wanted to bring that into this conversation because I think it's really interesting that Sony does not consider PC a competition this generation. With Street Fighter V, it's like, yeah, PS4, PC, that kind of thing, where it's like, yeah, absolutely, put that on PC. There are obviously a lot of exclusive games like Horizon that never make it to PC, but with third parties, we could talk about cars that Rocket League. We can talk about Rocket League. In that case, you can totally cross-play on PC with PS4, and they just said, no, never with Xbox, never with Xbox. It's just that kind of thing where it's like they do just consider Xbox solely their competition, and that's who they're not willing to be cross-compatible with.
Here's something that kind of gets a little overlooked. Microsoft has the crossplay with PC, but not really.
What do you mean by that?
Because the games that crossplay are games that you buy in the Windows Store. You can't crossplay the Steam versions. And so like the Mercury Steam game that I saw, Raiders of the Broken Planet.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that they're cross-playing is like, okay, you cross-play. The Xbox players can play with the Windows 10 players, and the PS4 players can play with the Steam players.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you're right. And you could point that same angry finger to Microsoft and say, like, hey, you would be able to play with so many other people if you just, like, let cross-pat work with Steam. And then they say, like, no, we don't own Steam, though.
Right.
And so, yeah, it is about incentives. And, yeah, it is really interesting, Blood. That's a good point to bring up. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, and obviously it's driven by money. Jones, is there a good way to communicate it? Sony looks like a bad guy right now. They look like a bad guy because I can't play Minecraft with Xbox friends on my PlayStation 4, and I can't play Rocket League with Switch players on my PlayStation 4. How do they? I don't think they'll change it for the rest of this generation. How do they make that not look mean?
Just don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it.
You think never talk about it?
Don't bring it up. Don't draw
Because
attention.
this is something I think we're aware of, but
Yep.
I think a lot of people are still cozy with the systems that they have. I think the biggest thing, and I actually had this happen 2 days ago because I hung out with friends that both play games that I see maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and every time I see them, it's like, oh, what's good? What are you playing? And every game I talked about, Star Trek Bridge Crew is a great one. I was like, oh, you should play Bridge Crew, and they were like, oh yeah, but what VR thing is it on? And it made me so happy to be like, all of them. It doesn't matter. You can just go get it, and that like brought me and my friends together in that moment, you know, and like versus like another game like, oh yeah, we can't, like we're both in a Battlefront, like can't wait to play Battlefront 2, but like one of them doesn't have PS4, so I got to get it on Xbox and play, or like, I don't know what system I'll be reviewing that on, but I know I got to get that Xbox version because both of them are going to have currently have Xbox Ones. So I think it's something Sony's just going to have to do eventually. And I think right now they're just like, we'll kick that can down the street and we'll deal with that later. I think just think it's going to be game by game because we have two concrete examples, Rocket League and Minecraft. And I don't think they look at those as the battlefields that we need to fight this fight on. And I think it you just don't see like Nintendo, or you don't see like specifically like Mojang or like the developers like raising a big stink about it. And I think when you do find that game, when you have a company like Activision or someone that's like, wait a minute,
when Destiny 2 starts,
we actually have a problem with it. We want to get involved, and we think Sony, we think you should do this. Like that's what I'm waiting for. Yeah. Is when someone else comes in and
but Sony's throwing millions of dollars at Bungie to create PlayStation exclusive Destiny 2 content.
Yeah.
They don't want PlayStation players playing Destiny with Xbox players. They just threw millions of dollars so that they had their own little thing.
Yeah.
So there's,
and I think Jones is right. Yeah. It'll have to take Activision saying, Sony, you need to.
Yeah.
And the other idea is maybe 3 or 2 generations from now, Xbox is like the Switch to them. They don't even consider it competition anymore. I don't really foresee that happening, but like something like that, where it's like, yeah, okay, we can be cross-compatible with you, like we are with PC and Switch. Like it's maybe something like that.
Well, one thing I kind of do wonder in their favor is, just a user interface standpoint, like. How annoying is it when you like boot up like Deus Ex or something and you're greeted with this dumb freaking Square Enix accept the terms and sign into your Square Enix account or your Ubisoft account, and then to think about like having that and then to add on, to play with Xbox Live players, sign into your Xbox account, and it's just like how many sign-ins is going to be like overkill.
It's fair. We had a great time with Star Trek Bridge Crew. It took us forever to get us connected.
Even when I knew how to do it and tried it again a couple days later, it just wouldn't work. I just couldn't. Like I would send invites and they would not come up.
That was so annoying. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm streaming that later this week. I'm terrified because I'm like, no one's gonna be around to help me. I just gotta figure it out.
And that's not even considering like how much of a headache is it to get these networks to talk to each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of effort for something that doesn't seem like a benefit to them. And so, yeah, I think it's really funny you just say don't mention it, and I think you might be right.
Or just mention that we've issued a statement. There it is. It's on our website. You can go read it.
Yeah.
That's all we have to say on it until our opinion changes.
And it won't. It will not until...
It'll just take a game that is bigger than a Rocket League or a Minecraft.
Yeah.
Because I think those are two types of games that people they're having fun playing no matter what.
Yeah.
But like when you hit a COD or a Madden or something that like... an EA or an Activision reaches out and says like, this is really important.
It's hard to say those aren't big games though, especially Minecraft. It's hard to say that's a small game.
I'm not saying, no, it's huge.
Yeah.
But it's not, its fan base isn't going to get angry. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to get, like I just don't see them having a big enough percentage of their player base that really, really wants this to happen. I think they would be like, oh yeah, that's cool. But like, I think once you get into some of those more annual franchises, that it's not, because like the Minecraft's available on these other systems, but it's not Minecraft 2.
Right.
Whereas if you have these these big franchises that keep pumping out multiple sequels,
For Honor,
that just make that stand during one installment.
For Honor, the world map, the season, was crossplay, so it was one universal Viking Samurai knights, but. You still only queued up against people on your system.
There's kind of a different system.
But they talked about how hard they had to fight just for that. And how big of a deal that was to make that happen.
Yeah. Why are you counting those Xbox numbers on our consoles? Sorry.
One thing that's weird about it, though, is the big mass market games like Call of Duty and Destiny and Need for Speed and such, they don't actually need it. Like, that's why it's great for Bridge Crew, because there's such a small player base out there. Like, you want everybody in the same
You have
pool.
to play that multiplayer.
And so it's this weird thing where it's like the people that are going to benefit, the publishers that are going to benefit the most are the smaller mid-tier publishers.
You're right. VR is an interesting thing to bring up in that stance, Blood, because there's some PSVR exclusive online games you hop on, nobody's there.
Yeah.
You can't play online. But you pop into Werewolves Within today, and people are still playing. And like that's how you play the game. It's a fair point. Huber, I just remembered a correction that the people will be mad that I didn't recorrect about Injustice 2 microtransactions and what you can spend money on and
Yes.
what earns what and what modes you can use those things in. Could you please just, for the record, for easy
Yeah,
allies
for the
for
record.
all time, we'll never
Okay.
talk about this again. We'll just reference, like Jones said,
Yeah.
like we made our statement on this. Just go back to that one podcast. So just let's set the record straight right now how everything works.
So the only thing you can buy with
Yes.
real cash
Uh-huh.
are power shards or power crystals.
Power crystals.
They're called power crystals.
Yes.
With those power crystals, you can buy cosmetic skins for your character. So like Captain Cold can turn into Mr. Freeze.
Oh, those.
Those
Okay.
power crystals.
So when you say
can
skins,
earn
it's not even armor, not even pieces.
not gear.
Not gear.
Skins.
Strictly
They're called
skins.
premier skins.
'Kay.
So it'll be like Captain Cold turning into Mr. Freeze.
And he's got a different voice.
Yeah.
And different intro animations, I think, even.
There is one thing where it does get a little dicey with the power crystals.
Okay.
First, though, a little just housekeeping is when you finish the main campaign, you earn a set amount. It's like enough to buy one premier skin.
I got
So if you
some
beat the whole,
power crystals.
so I beat the whole campaign.
Okay.
I bought Mr. Freeze, obviously.
Yeah.
When you get one character to level 20, you can spend power crystals to boost other characters to level 20.
I saw this in the corrections
immediately.
as well. Yeah. So you can kind of save time as well with power
You can save
crystals.
time for other characters. You just boost them up, but you know.
So it's
I'm
not,
not-
strictly cosmetics
Yeah.
comments.
So it's, but you can't really call that pay to win because
It's pay to save time.
pay to save time for sure. But you know, it gets muddy. You know, getting to level 20 doesn't take that long. It's really about like the gear you're grinding. Also, when you play online, if you do ranked,
Yeah.
all gear
The
is
level
off,
doesn't
all
matter.
levels off.
The levels do not matter.
all levels are off.
What
so
mode
it
would I
helps.
have to play where the levels would matter?
It would be player matches. So
Okay.
unranked, you can have gear stats on.
Okay.
And the multiverse, obviously, because some multiverse missions will be character specific. Like, yo, use this character to
And
go
level
through this.
specific. You can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
before you jump in, like
Yeah.
this is for 10 and above.
So it helps you with a little time.
Recommended.
You can get some gear a little quicker, but
Okay.
I still think getting to level 20 is relatively fast. This isn't like an MMO or anything.
Give me amount of minutes. What does it take to get to level 20?
Level 20, like your first one will take you a little while because you're getting used to the game. But if
Yeah.
you're like, all right, I'm going to get this guy to level 20,
Yep.
you could do it in like a day of casual playing.
A day.
A day? What is a day?
Day.
Not like a day of casual playing.
What
like,
does that mean to you?
Like 4 or 5
That's
hours,
not
6
casual,
hours.
dude.
I don't
That's
know.
so much time.
For a long-term fighting game, you're gonna be playing for like a year.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't like giving my.
I know it's muddy. It's
Yeah,
a muddy
it's
situation.
muddy.
Yeah,
It's muddy.
Yeah, it's muddy.
By the way, how much are our masks? How much could like? I saw someone on Twitter say I spent $6 on your masks and I felt
Jeez.
bad. Yeah.
I didn't look at what the currency costs.
Yeah.
But I hopped in. We had to re-download the game. So they cost 200 Uncharted points.
Uncharted points.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you 500 Uncharted points. So you could get 2
Well, if
out
you
of-
haven't
Oh,
played multiplayer.
when you log in. Gotcha.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
If you spent those though.
Yeah. And just so you realize, our kickback is like when you spend 6, we get only like 5 from that.
we don't get anything.
$0.00.
Zero.
Just so that relationship is very clear. It is now time for bets. Next week's bet, it's about Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, which releases on Friday, June 30th. I'm going to the top 10 most recent reviews on Open Critic next week, around this time. How many times will I see the word Mario? Actually, it'll probably be morning or the night before, but around this time next week. Looking at top 10 most recent reviews. How many times will I see the word Mario, Jones?
I'm going low. None.
Ooh.
Not happening.
Nice.
Nice.
0.
Great bet.
Slightly higher. 3.
Lucky number 7. Ding 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 ding.
My bet, identical to Bloodworth's, 3.
Oh,
Nice. We got the high
And-
blood. We got the high number.
We're not done yet. We have Don's as well.
gone.
Oh boy.
We got art.
This is some good art. So
He actually drew the Marios.
Don expects me to count.
He also says 7.
Don says 7, and he drew us 7 Marios.
Oh, so the best win would be if it was high, because then we get double
You
points.
get those double points. Yep. You better hope somebody can't stop talking about Mario. Let me lock those in.
Yeah, all it takes is one person.
Yeah. All it takes is one. Oh, Jones, do you have a laptop nearby?
Yeah.
We got to go to twitch.tv. So, last week's bet, Valkyria Revolution launched today.
Right.
Yes. How many viewers will it have on twitch.tv
Oh my
at
God.
this time? Jones bet 400. Damiani bet 300. Brad bet
Wow.
7,000. I bet 390.
7,000?
Brad was out of his mind.
What the heck?
For the whole game, I would think it would be more than a few hundred.
319.
Dude,
Well,
I'm saying 73.
okay, all right. Yeah, I think 73 is more accurate.
7,000? Draft your tweets, Brad. We're coming for you. Oh my goodness.
What do you have for us, Jones?
57.
57 viewers!
Yeah.
7.
That's what makes me so mad. I thought I had the low bet. I thought everyone was going to go high, and I was like, 3. I'm clever with 300. I should have gone way lower.
Oh, 47. Sorry.
Doesn't
I
matter.
lied. 47.
47 people watching that live. Great bet, Huber. The winning bet goes to Damiani with his 300 bet.
Nice.
Daniel Butterworth, you're in that seat. We'll get to that later. The Purple Platypi have 10 points. Red Eagles, 16. Caca! Before we get there, though, I would like to talk to you, viewers or listener, about Easy Allies. What's up, Jones?
I'm excited to talk about Easy Allies.
Oh, you had this expectant glance, like, I got something, dude. I got something.
I got some. It's called Easy Allies.
Okay, tell me what Easy Allies
And
are.
it's good.
Okay.
It's a thing. It's growing. What it is today will be more tomorrow, and more the day after that, and the year after that.
Yeah.
It grows because we have a community of people that support us financially. They do that on patreon.com/easyallies. In other ways as well. Of course, watching our videos on YouTube, we get advertising from that. Subscribing to us on Twitch, we get the revenue from that. But primarily, we are operated by our Patreon. And you can get the podcast early. You can get your name mentioned, our podcast producer credits, which we will be doing after this episode. You can be a part of D's Blood Pact over here. There's lots of cool stuff that you can get, lots of goals you can help us meet. Our next goal is our office. It's our studio, which will be a huge thing for us. We're currently hovering around 45K, trying to get to 50K to get that office and move out of here. But we have been around for over a year because of the support, and so we would appreciate it if you go check it out. But if you just like listening to us or watching us, we appreciate that as well.
Cool. I just realized that we had very little Batman talk this podcast.
I know.
We did.
Oh.
I
I
saw that
blew
win.
it.
We
I
did.
blew it hard.
Yeah, how'd you do on your goal this week, Hubert?
I failed miserably. I
I even
kept.
told you the episode, too.
Yeah, there were like 2
So
times.
what is that episode?
The episode
Just
is...
a quick synopsis.
It's extremely timely because
Yeah.
it stars the late, great Adam West. Not the original Batman,
As
but
Batman?
one of the original Batmen
Yeah.
as the voice of the Grey Ghost, who is Bruce's childhood hero growing up. And a case, someone starts dropping bombs around Gotham, and Bruce thinks back, wait a minute, I know this scenario. It's from an old episode of The Grey Ghost.
Oh, cool.
And so he's got to not only dig up the old episode and find out the clues from that episode, but gets to meet the Grey Ghost himself, who's still living in Gotham City, that actor.
Cool.
And it strangely
Team up.
echoes much more than I am surprised Adam West was comfortable with, but the life of Adam West, growing up being this childhood star, and then, kind of being pigeonholed in that role and not being able to get out and experience other things.
Adam West was super comfy with that, though.
I'm sure he was kind of conflicted a little bit. Like he clearly was having fun at the later points in his career.
Yeah.
And of course, certainly after his passing is treated very lots of love for him for all the stuff that he has done. But it is an interesting perspective of someone like a Mark Hamill or an Adam West who's just kind of known for one role, and it's very difficult for them to get out of it. And,
Yeah.
who's also in Batman.
Arkham Knight Easter egg. Grey Ghost poster.
Really? That's fun.
Nice.
That's cool. On The Adventures of Pete and Pete, Adam West was the principal. Killed it. Crushed it.
Nice.
Not relevant. Sorry about that. We got to do... Oh, no, goals still. Blood, how'd you do on your goal this week?
I think it did pretty well. Yeah. I kept on the mic for the most part, and got away from the mic when I needed to show my face, not get covered up the whole time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the listeners will be the judge, but I think I did well.
I do. Someday I want to be a radio host. And you can just talk right into... You can just talk right here.
Yeah. Get real close.
Jones, how'd you do on your goal this
I think
week?
I did good. It
You know what?
made me aware of how many times I
made me
actually say
uncomfortable.
people's
Yeah,
names.
Jones, your goal ruined the podcast this week. It made me
Mission
mad.
accomplished.
Never, I won't allow that ever again. Something like that.
I don't want to ruin this podcast, but I do want to make you mad, so I'm conflicted.
You ruined it for me, Jones.
Okay.
Will there be any secret noises this week? We'll find out.
Yeah. You know, we should give context to that. We shouldn't just say such a strange sentence like that. It was like 4 a.m. last week, Jones? Was it 4 a.m.?
What, did I mess up?
No, you messaged us about a secret noise that you heard in the
Yeah.
Oh, and you
podcast.
know what I think that was?
Some
At the end of the day,
it's-
Amanda called it right away. It was probably a bug. It was probably like a fly or something. Then you're like right by the mic.
Sure. It
Brad
Or-
claimed it.
Or it was
Yeah.
a demon.
There was
But
here's
the thing.
bizarre
Jones-
sound effect
Jones
in the podcast.
messages this, and I think it was 4 a.m. Was it that early? Or was it like
It was
3?
it was crazy late. Yeah, something like that.
Just like, guys, please listen to this clip and send us all a clip from last
An
week's
audio
podcast.
clip.
White
Yeah.
noise,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, because Jones heard something terrifying. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
a little freaked out right now. Maybe it's just because it's late. And we're like listening to it, like, I don't know, Jones, sounds like a grunt, man. Like, it's just.
Well, it was weird because with our new mixer, you can isolate the microphones.
Yeah.
And so I was like, where's that coming from? And I was just curious. I was like, oh, I wonder if somebody made a silly noise or something. And then I figured out, like, oh, it's coming from Brad's mic. And then I looked at Brad and I'm like, Brad's not making a noise. Brad's just like standing there when that noise happens on his mic.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's strange.
Yeah.
That he's not breathing in or out or making a noise or anything. And
He thought he was
clearly there's
suppressing a
sound.
cough.
Well, maybe.
Tell them. Blood. Because Damiani won the bet, you're sitting in his seat. You get the right and responsibility to share your Twitter handle with the world. You get to promote any Easy Allies video you would like to promote. You get the final word on anything you've disagreed with or simply want to reiterate. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign off. Take it away, D.
My Twitter handle is at dbloodworth2, and I just recently, as I think we kind of brought it up here a little bit, I just recently finished all of Earthbound Beginnings, the original Mother game, which, as we talked about, it was translated back in the NES era, but I guess the word on the street there is that it was it was canceled because the Super NES had already taken off and they just didn't think it would do well, or who knows.
Yeah, that's what's crazy is
Yeah.
when it was announced, I thought, oh, they translated that whole game? Wow.
Yeah.
No, that was not the case. It was already translated, and they
Yeah.
just kept it.
Yeah, but then the funny thing
Yeah.
is, though, it was just called Earthbound. So, like, Earthbound Beginnings.
So like the fully translated game, the game that was canceled on the NES in the US was called Earthbound.
Yeah, the title screen just says Earthbound.
Huh.
So, like, on the Virtual Console menu, you'll go to Earthbound Beginnings, but
Yeah.
the game itself just says Earthbound.
And then when they were doing Mother 2, they said, well, let's just use Earthbound again.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
I'm sure they didn't want to call it 2, just like how they did the Final Fantasies, all weird and
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I have a full playthrough up on Easy Allies Plays that you can go in and check out. And that game, just like the Super Nintendo game, has a really weird ending. It's worth checking out. And then for my final word, I will say that Goon Racers, super fun, has a great soundtrack. You should check out some videos of that as well. And really, it'll be great to get that on Virtual Console. I'm not even sure. Yeah, I'm not sure who's responsible for Uniracers at this point, but it'd be great to see it once again. And we'll see you before the next Blood Moon rises.
I am enjoying these microtransactions. The Easy Allies would like to thank our Patreon podcast producers. We apologize in advance for all the ally names we are about to misspell and mispronounce. Ebb Software, L. Fanis, Hogue Law, I. Keyless, King Art Games, Michael Kozachenko, Mango, Richard Smuts, Sweet Justice, Nick, Jesse Fish, Walker Hope, Cameron Hendry, Greg Kettering, Will Schmuck, Bradley Spees, Caleb Aranda, Professor Metal Gear, Zachary Wingate, John Tyson, Ken Layer, Beaten Down Brian, Demos Clay, Mike Hook 1, Mauricio Fuentes, Silent Consonant, Andrew Riff, Sigma, Dan Sebring, Robert Stoffel, Stephen Blomkamp, everyone who bought a copy of Bosman V. Wozniak Poems of Tetris, Jason Erickson, Mylene LePearl Vanass, Andrew Bailey, Liana Alexandru, Rizev, Anti-Ataraxia, Michael Bisegli, Nate Killick, Dave Red, Thomas Wigington Jr., Eduardo Ortiz, Ramiro Castillo Pereira, Neil Bruce, Rory McGuire, Jared Reif, 44 stars, Matthew Pauling, Gino A. Leet, Yasser Aluseni, Jason A. Sackle, G. Levin, Candy Coated Thorns, John Rendon, Charles Anthony Iapicino, G. Ken, Tim O'Keefe, Hitman 47, Ryan Anderson, Nicholas Owens, Colt Doss, Paul Nolson, Jason Joint, Alexander Berveglieri, Cody Harden, Dragon Hunter, Jay Shee, Wobes, Marcel Froelich, Yong Lee, Mark Bianchin, Phoenix Doss, Akira Sendo, Lee Young, Congolator, Andrew Kidd, Thomas Gonzalez, Peter Davis, Hudson Bilbrey, Rack, Kira Stenroos, Adam Pryor, Brad Lohman, Simon Anderson, Gary Fair, Wesley McDonald, Matthias Hesselvig Jensen, Ian Santa Anna, Jake Musser, Tim Strothman, Caleb Crawford, DRD 7 of 14, Blue Suitor, Todd Yurkovic, Joe Burns, Jordan Phillips, Yo Butts, Haya, Athena, Patrick Chong, Casey, Monica, Chum Nun, Sergio Ruben Hernandez Gallegos, Paul Young, Stephen Last, Ahmad Naki, Missile Mage, Jeremiah Snowden, The Banana Forklift Killer, Joaquin Morovuo, Gustav Strombaum, Kelvin Markov, Mark J. Betters II, Nefertiti Jenkins, Joel Olson, Joe Atlas, David Nguyen, Luke Arnold, Matthew Holcomb, Daryl Schramm, Brent Phillips, Skender Yashari, Marius Smith, Catherine Lai, Gary James, Kit Snow, Ian Bradburn, Leaf Johnson, Boris Scherl, Juan Yobo, Corey Jackson, Robert Crouch, Michael Schreiber, Mikhail Aniel, Sven von Brand, Ulf himself, John Prey, Bai Menace, V8 Dave, Nasser, Joseph Caruso, Sean Clinton, Fabian Schuster, The Solar Sailor, Mikkel Bach Sorensen, Jesper Lawson, Anthony DC1, Luis Ibarra, Tony Knox, Adam Damon, C-Note 51, Isun Chor, Forrest, Caleb Ledoux, Thomas Einsporn, Bry Guy, Jamie Jackman, Xylo Wolfbane, MMNHGYGCC DDRTY, Natalie N. Lennon, Alexander Schiller, The Classiest Hobo, Neil Brophy, Captain Fancy Pants, Gavin Kerr, Zinterax, Modren, Stephen Cohen, Connor Rosine, Andy Zulkifli, Paul Bishop, Sean Smith, Travis Miosi, Carl Williams, Trey Whetstone, Matt McCarthy, Eric Crone, Sean Mackey, David Hackman, Leroy Anderson, Jonas Andreas Sibison, Reen Johnson, Joe Town, Manuel Thomas, Peter Nguyen, Luke Bennett, Eric Copen, Adam Scherenbrock, Not Jack, Kurzistav Rogowski, Allison Burt, Johnny Markula, Bjornar Haraldsvik, Alfredo Gonzalez, Sean De Almeida, Zach Bardsley, Chris Sleep, Saturn, Mokiki, Jacob Whittington, Charlie, Serial Gamer, Lauren Yvonne, Wouter DeHaze, Michael Favacci, Gabriel Johansson, Eric Maynard, Cartridge Brothers, Dennis Franklin, Renee Klut, Gonzas Elite, Bernardo Del Castillo, Leon Keys, Mugen Himura, Austin Belzer, Raymond Lee, Clay Roberts, Victor Villarreal, Ritz 1906, Todd Paxtone, Taggart McStone, Fast Mower, Faraz Rizvi, Dakota Hayes, Zoostick, Don Turner, Mumble Mumbleton, Misuki 211, Kyle Bradford, Shinobazu, Edison S. Prada Jr., Alex Castellanos, Martin Savage, Travis Ing, Bryce Ray Parker, Ahmad Al-Rashed, Tuttle, Beth, Furious Action Gamer, Jonathan and Amy Alconis, Stuart Siddall, William Kirk, G. Sith, Mac Reed, Connor Ross, Matt Gunther, Evan Eng, Joshua Vanswall, Eric Gustafson, Refill, Sebastian Trier, Andreas Scholand Peterson, Bonnie and Jason Connor, Alex AI, Jeffrey Daniel Lasley, Stephen Walther, Carlos Zuniga, Muzamil Pabani, Ryan Cohen, Adam Mullaney, Link666 Goron, Terrence Ireland, Simon Gauthier, Momo Rashid, M. Legend, Matthias Larson, Marcus Hankins, Heads, Richard Eiley, Justin Wenderoth, Calgareth, Eddie Reisner, Chase Caldwell, Andrew Buchter, Palkin Stirs and Stirs, Rebecca Woods, Barry, Mikey Novak, Adam Henry, Beautiful Kai, Hissapin, Mac Jam, Ronnie, Caffeine Rage, David Kennedy, Durgesh Patel, Rick Argomenes, Kenneth Procius, Mike Calvi, Sarah, Philip Stadler, Anthony Daniel Galvin, Benny Samuelson, Trolls Rasmussen, Daniel Wong, Mark Besnard, Jameson Anderson, Vincent Foliat, Hutchitron, Ahab, Neobear, Rainier Dennis Bautista, Jordan Eves, Tetra Ninja, Alex Glass,
Junya Motomura, Eric Santoy, Mithers, Ya Boy Benny B, Sebastian K, Ancient Picnic, Mons Anderson, Alvin Skogheim, Jai Aldair, Kevin DeBolt, Morgan Worth, Sam Sorensen, Mr. Heidenseek, Matt Ferguson, Michael Tennick, Poogie Boogie, William Heaney, Krister Lundmark, Peyton Wiederspan, Chris the Pianist, Michelle Nubb, Sandra and Richard Acero, Robert Marquardt, Carlos Gonzalez, David Tran, Monica X. Avaria, Adam Barker, Philip Klarskov Jensen, Niels Frederick Elbol, Sun Pham, David Amaro, Alex Monaco, Evan Anderson, Nuno Amaral, Galen Moxley Hagert, Twisted Heart, David Boyarski, Rajiv Maharaj, Toasty Soul, Sean McGing, Daggeth, Brennan Hrehorik, Joaquim Wiederberg, Christopher Santis, Marco Flores, Sam Handrick, Tarek Leham, Christian Hundorf, Andreas Koter, Egg Stravaganza, Gali Gutierrez, Cody Gear, Addison Mir, The Fatty Show, Jason Shields, Rickster EXE, Minimic, Julio Ruiz, Lars Berger, Steven Insler, Lorenzo, Remy Loisel, Isabella Crane, Jordan Kirk, Christopher Dixon, Ali Douglas, Peter Shoemaker, Repas Edid, Irvin De La Torre, Cyberboa, Christophe Fatui, Azazel Valkyrie, Garrett Fox, Christopher Foss, Outcast Writer, Chris Bennett, Helping Leon, Jesse Vitelli, Self-Confessed Cynic, Roman Udolph, V. Kira Ray, Tristan Howard, Materia Addict, Rob Middledorp, Robert I, Kay Murdoch, Gonzalo Sands, Blaster Master, Elizabeth, Chie Best Waifu, Miguel Rivas, Alex Lavanier, Justin Wren, Malcolm Moschette, Adam, Robert Ori Einerson, Christopher Donnelly, Matt Karwoski, Joel Short, Marco Hernandez, Gabriel Heilborn, Andrew Amos, Fat Shadow, Struggler, Tense George, Joey and Kate, Raymond Chow, Caffeinade, Ian Anderson, DanPan16, Tongue Surgery, C.S. Lewis, Hasney, Michael Lugaro, Trenton Robison, Jana, Roy Sung, Kim Monk Vonderleith Hagensen Petersen, Colin Hoylman, Reed Marlett, Evan Anderson, Ali Khan Sunger, Matthew Robles, Shanley Ladia, Dale A. Brule, Rerun, James Blair, Arkham Fantasy, Dale Sun, Philip Higdon, John Ivar Carlson, Spencer Stevens, Impact 93, Siahi Jabbar, Russell Bateman, Elliot Moscow, Daniel Fuchs, Jonas, Ivan Ponce, Adam Warzek, Sean Essen, Sebastian Urban, Marco Zanone, Alec Church.